Good evening, this is the IELTS speaking mock test. My name is Azbatr Urakov and I'll be your examiner for today's speaking session. So in this test we'll have three different parts. In the first part of the test I'll be asking different questions about yourself.
Okay.
Alright, can I have your full name first?
Yes, my full name is Mohammed Basir Kargar, but you can call me Basir.
Thank you, Basir. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
Well, currently I'm a student and I also do work. I do have a job, my school is kind of more dominant on my lifestyle, so I have to stick to it more than my job. So I'm kind of like in the middle. I'm not working that much, but I'm going to school. I have to be focused. I have to be more focused on that. So I'm doing both currently.
All right. So what subjects are your favorite at school?
Well, I don't have a favorite subject. I would say PE is my favorite one.
Okay.
I don't like any other subjects. I'm not like a guy who likes to go to, like geometry or mathematics or stuff like that. I'm not into those.
Thank you. And what work do you do?
I work in a learning center, an English learning center, as an examiner sometimes, and I also do teach students. I help them to get, I kind of instruct them to the IELTS, test and how IELTS works and stuff like that, yeah.
Thank you. And do you like your job?
Yes, I do like my job. I kind of volunteered to do this job, and maybe in the future when I'm free of school, I will continue this job, as a profession.
Okay, is there anything that you dislike about your job?
The thing that I dislike, I would say that there are a lot of things that I kind of dislike about my job, but those are very minor ones. I don't have a big problem in my job, and the problems are talking with some students who don't get your point sometimes. For instance, we have some students who have very low levels and they want to get IELTS as fast as possible, and it's just something that is impossible. IELTS is like a staircase. You need to go from from the beginning till the end. They just want to skip the middle part and go to the end, so it's kind of difficult to work with those types of students.
All right, thank you. And let's talk a little about your hometown. All right, so can you please describe your hometown a little?
Well, my hometown is located in the far northern side of Afghanistan, which is called Faryab, and I was born there. The place is very beautiful. It has a very good weather, and the weather is not that cold and not that hot. And because of less cars, the pollution, there are no pollutions there. You don't have any air pollution there, so the weather is very good there. I like my hometown.
Okay, so do you like your hometown?
Yes, as I said, I do like my hometown, yeah.
Thank you. And how long have you been living there?
Well, I lived there, I cannot clearly remember how many years I lived there. I think when I was 6 or 7, we moved to another city to continue my education in my own country. And I was I was traveling back and forth, so I don't have a record of how many years I've been exactly living there for, but as far as I can recall, I think I was 7 or 6 years old when I left my hometown.
Okay, thank you. Let's now talk a little about social media. Okay, and do you like using social media?
Yes, yeah, I do like using social media because it's a very convenient way to connect with other people or with your own friends when they're far from you, and it's more easier, it's more faster. Yeah, I do like using social media.
Okay, do your friends use social media?
Yeah, all of my friends that I know, all of them basically use social media. I don't think that, in this era of in this world that we live in, everyone has mobile phones and internet connection. So it's kind of something necessary. It has been something very necessary for people to have social media. And whenever I talk with people, all of the people have social media.
All right, thank you. And what's the most popular social media in your country?
Well, in my own country, in Afghanistan, the most popular social media, I think, was Facebook. But when I came here in Uzbekistan, I think Telegram is more predominant on other social media. So I would say Telegram in Uzbekistan, yeah. Okay,
and what kind of people do you like to be friends with on those websites?
Well, the type of people that I'm friends with in normal life, the ones that, I don't like to be friends with strangers. I don't get to know them on social media. I will just talk with my old friends or the friends that I have in real life. I don't create new bonds on social media. I don't use it for that purpose. I just use it for watching videos and stuff like that, not for connection.
Thank you. Now let's talk a little about numbers, okay? And what's your favorite number?
I don't have a favorite number specifically. Like, you know, I like all of the numbers. Like, there's no, I don't have a favorite one, I would say. Every number is good. That's it.
Okay, are you good at remembering numbers?
Like phone numbers?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends, to be honest. I kind of suck at that, to be honest. I'm not that good at remembering phone numbers. I only know my own phone number, and that's it. I don't know.
What about all the numbers in general?
Other numbers?
Yes, like amount of money.
Amount of money. Nah, I don't. I mean, I have a memory of a goldfish. I don't like to. I mean, I don't always remember stuff. Like, you know, if I put something in a specific place, I will forget where I put it. So after like 10 minutes, I don't have a good memory. Yeah.
All right. Which is more difficult, to remember numbers or names?
I would say definitely numbers for me. I mean, I'm good at remembering like names of people, and I don't think that numbers are as easy as remembering, like, you know, names.
Thank you. This is now the end of part one. We'll now move on to part two.
Okay.
And in this part, I'll give you a cue card with a question on which you have to speak about for 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right. And here is a piece of paper and a pencil for you to take notes.
Okay.
Well, this is your cue card, and you should describe an important plans that you have for the future. Okay. And remember, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and your preparation time starts now.
Okay.
Okay. So remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes to speak about the topic. I'll tell you when to start and when to stop, so don't worry if I stop you, all right?
Okay.
And can you start speaking now?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that I'm in a stage of life where, you know, you cannot make decisions that easily because you're like, I mean, I'm a teenager, so I'm at school, and for me to choose a specific path, like, you know, to follow till the end of my life is kind of difficult, you know, and I want to be more flexible, to be honest, with the future plan that I'm going to have. For now, I think that I'm good at something. I'm good at IELTS. I mean, I'm good at English, so that's why I'm planning to become an examiner, an IELTS, official IELTS examiner. Maybe in the future, hopefully, if I was able to earn this place. To be honest, right now I don't have all of the necessities. For instance, you need. I'm not that sure of what are the specific things that you need. I think you need an IELTS 9, if I'm not mistaken, and you also need some kind of certification for graduating college, university, or maybe a CELTA, I believe, or a Delta. I'm not sure of those stuff, but yeah. So my plan is to just become an examiner in the future, and like I like traveling as well, and it actually offers you more flexibility. For instance, you'll be having a certificate for 2 years of becoming an examiner, and after that you can leave your job and you can, like, you know, if you don't want to work anymore, you can leave your job and become someone else. Maybe if you're good at something else, or maybe if you want to become someone else. For instance, I can choose a business path and then continue doing business. I can choose a gaming path maybe, or maybe something else. So I don't have a specific pattern to follow for the future, but I am, like, you know, willing to have curvatures, you know, to change my job and to have, like, you know, trying different things. I'm a spontaneous guy, so I like it when, you know, when things are, like, you know, spontaneous and you don't have to, like, you know, plan it like very thoroughly. So yeah.
Do you like making plans for the future?
Yeah, as I said, I'm not that good at it.
Okay, thank you. Now, can I have that?
Yes, yeah, sure.
All right, this is the end of part 2. We'll now move on to part 3, and I'll ask general questions about the topic that you've now spoken in part 2. Okay? So let's talk about plans. Why do people make plans?
I think that, well, people want to have a future that is known for them, I guess. They want to, like, you know, solidify their place for the future. So, for instance, if someone decides to open a business, they want to build like, you know, they want to build some economic, like, you know, beneficial things for them, or maybe they want to just have a brighter future. If you don't have any plans for the future, I mean, no plans at all would be very bad, but if you have flexible plans, like, you know, where you can change your, like, you know, plans, as I said in part 2, it would be more like convenient for yourself, because nothing can go, like, you know, the way that you want them to go, like, go and to work. So yeah, I would say people want to make plans to have a very solid future.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think everyone should make plans?
I mean, it depends on their age. For instance, kids, they don't have to make any plans for the future. It's mostly they're controlled by their parents. So like their father, their mother, or maybe their guardians will tell them what to do in the future. But if you're in an age where you should things will get more serious when you're in an age like maybe when you're 18 or 17. After that, you need to make plans. You need to choose something so that you should stick to it, and that would basically that will show you how your future will work and how you can live in the future. And yeah, so I think it depends on the age, in my opinion.
Thank you. And what happens if people don't have plans for the future?
I mean, throughout my life, I've seen people with futures and without futures. Some of them are lucky, like if they have plans for the future and they work out, so they're lucky and they have a very solid place. They have a very good economic state, and they just have a good life. And sometimes people without plans also had good times. When I talked with some people, and they have a very strong, as I said, economic state for themselves, and they can live without any worries of the future of poverty and stuff. So it depends, to be honest. It depends on your luck, first of all, and it depends on where you are in a specific time. Maybe if you're good at something and if you haven't tried that out yet, maybe something naturally could happen, and maybe you could change to that path and become someone better. Who knows? It's not something that you can say for sure. It's not 100% you can decide.
Okay, thank you. And what are some common plans that people make for their future?
Common plans, I would say, is probably universities. People choose their university from a very early age, and the country, all of this stuff. Most of the people that I know, they choose their university from a very young age, and the country as well. So they want to go abroad, they want to grow as a person. So I would say that's also a good decision, and that's very common, I would say, among people.
All right. And how do people's plans for the future change as they get older?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the person's country, for instance. Maybe if they live in a country that is wars usually happen there, they can change their future. They can go to another country, and maybe they cannot blend in that well with them. So anything could happen, to be honest, in life. For instance, you might get some kind of betrayal from your business partners maybe in the future, if you have a business, and that could change your path, basically. So it depends.
Okay. And do you think people should focus more on short-term goals or long-term plans?
Well, that's a very difficult question. I would say you should separate your focus to both of them, because if you choose one of them, you might forget about the other one. But small steps will make you reach to that final goal. So you should also stick to those small plans that you have maybe for the future. And also the bigger dream should also not be forgotten from you. For instance, if you're painting something, you should have that big picture in your mind. So then you will start slowly, and then you will get the result that you want. So you should stick to both of them, I would say. You cannot have one of them, in my opinion.
Okay, why do sometimes people find it difficult to make plans for their future?
Well, I would say that they're not as experienced, and they're not they haven't tried out stuff yet. Maybe they haven't lived enough. For instance, teenagers, they don't have good decision making. They are not good at making decisions. So I would say it depends. If you have a good maybe if you lived enough, I would say, if you lived long enough, then you could make good decisions that will make that will make your future clear. And if you haven't lived that much, and if you if you're young, then you might have some mistakes while you're making.
Okay, what factors do you think should be considered while making decisions for the future?
Can you repeat your question?
Yes,
please?
what factors do you think people should consider when making plans for their future?
Well, a lot of factors. For instance, if you want to become a scientist, you should be good at something. You should be good at mathematics, maybe physics or stuff like that. So you should know that, are you good at something? that you want to become in the future? Second of all, is your goal like really realistic? For instance, some people just have a goal, but they don't know the path to that, to reach for that, to that goal. So I would say that I mean, if small factors matter, and I would say they should know that are they good at something, so that they can choose something for the future. And yeah, they should basically stick to it. Sometimes when people don't get what they want, they get disappointed and they'll just leave something. Maybe in the future they could have achieved that. So you shouldn't leave something when you're in the middle of it. So there are a lot of factors that I cannot name right now. The things that came to my mind, I just said.
Okay, and do you think there are differences in making goals or plans for the future in terms of gender between women and men?
Well, that's a very controversial question, I would say. I mean, it depends. For instance, in some countries where women are more, what can I say? They have more freedom. For instance, in the US, women have more freedom than men. So I mean, not than men, but they have enough freedom to choose what they want to do. But in some Islamic countries, for instance, or maybe some other countries where women mostly get married, and they are mostly they should provide to their children and stuff like that, it could change their path. So it depends on the country that they live in, I would say.
Okay, and do you think that parents should make plans for their children?
If the child is young, very, very young, they should. But if the child is in an age where they're 18 or 17, they shouldn't force them to become someone that they don't like to become. For instance, most of the parents, they want their children to become either an engineer or a doctor because it was their dream maybe. So they kind of push their child to become someone like them, like the one that they wanted to be but they couldn't achieve. So they shouldn't push their children, but they should just show them the path. Maybe if the child wants to become an actor, they shouldn't say no. They should ask them, are you good at this? Or can you achieve this? Or stuff like that. They should kind of be like a partner, not like a leader. They shouldn't force you to become someone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. This is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, is that all?